Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bustler, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Monday night, the meltdown has begun. There's a lot of stuff to unpack. We have a lot of stuff to break down. Tonight, countdown to tip-off is on. The NBA playoffs start in less than 24 hours. The play-in tournament, and we've got some big-time matchups in the play-in. We'll break that down. NHL playoffs are rapidly approaching. Wild stuff on the ice tonight. A bunch of teams in must-win situations, including the Detroit Red Wings, who needed the 2 points. 1 point was not going to be enough. They went into the third period down 4-2 to the Montreal Canadiens, and the Red Wings came back and won the hockey game 5-4. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know we posted at intermission. I said, listen, it's 4-2 right now. The in-game total is 8.5, and they need goals. Right, and it wasn't, guaranteed they were going to get him, but you knew that the Red Wings were going to pull the goalie. I was surprised. They only pulled the goalie with about 2.5 left. I think it was about 2:15 to be exact, 2:13 maybe, around that. When they pulled the goalie, I was surprised they didn't pull the goalie earlier, but they were only down by 1 at that point. So it worked out for them. They scored with about a minute left or so, and then they ended up winning the game in overtime. They play each other again tomorrow night, so the Red Wings are going to have an opportunity to nail down another 2 points this evening. So we'll get you caught up to date with the NHL playoff picture, and it's crazy right now in the Eastern Conference. I have no idea. I don't even pretend to try to know, right? I know there's all these teams, and they all won, right? So, we'll see how it breaks out. We'll give you the scenarios when the dust settles as these games just end, and it continues throughout the week. The Dodgers, we got a game coming up here tonight. The Dodgers get the Washington Nationals. And we're now at the part of the year. One thing with the Dodgers, I'll tell you, if you're going to bet Dodger games, you need to bet them overnight. Don't say, you know what, I'm going to wait. Don't say, I'm going to wait or anything like that, because the number only goes up. And right now, what do I say? I see a minus 390 here right now. Just for the record, it was minus 350 overnight, right? So there is a little bit of a difference, 40 cents there. And it matters on the run line as well. I've already got the Dodgers at a parlay to close it out. I think the Dodgers are going to win this game by more than one run. So, late a run and a half, but even a run and a half is kind of pricey right now. We're just getting our player props in here right now. All right, player home runs. You know what? I think tonight's a Mookie night. Mookie. All right, Mookie's plus 310. Shohei Ohtani plus 265. And now let's just go with our actually, you know what? Tyler Glasnow's on the hill here tonight. Let's go over 8.5 strikeouts with Glasnow as well. And our player total base bets that we make every Dodger game. Mookie bets over 1.5 total bases. Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases. Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 total bases. Dodgers minus 1.5. So there's 7 picks right there. So let's go here. All right. Mookie bets to hit a home run. Ohtani to hit a home run. Glasnow over 8.5 strikeouts. Mookie bets over 1.5 total bases. Freeman over 1.5 total bases. Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 total bases. And we're in. Let's rock. Some late night action going on. And how are you going to get – listen, you never want to get in front of the Dodgers anyways. I already have the Dodgers, but let's just load up here. Let's play the Dodgers on the run line as well. It's Jackie Robinson Day today. Everybody's wearing number 42. And as anybody should know, Jackie Robinson, of course, got his start not in Brooklyn, but in Montreal with the Montreal Royals, who were the International League's farm team of the Brooklyn Dodgers. So all the great Brooklyn Dodger players, they all played in Montreal too, for the most part, almost all of them. Man, the Dodgers are up to minus 210 right now on the running. Wow. So who the hell is this pitcher? Anyways, who's the pitcher for the Nationals tonight? Nobody knows. I'm punching around like I'm trying to find, some stats on this kid. There are none. All right. Mitchell Parker. Mitchell Parker, 24 years old. He's from New Mexico. And he's pitching tonight at Chavez Ravine. Good luck, kid. Good luck with that. I hope you get lit up. Nothing personal, but I hope you get lit up pretty good tonight. Hopefully the Dodgers are up like 8-0 after the first inning, and it's a stress-free environment for us tonight. So Glasnow goes for the Dodgers tonight. Glasnow's a stud. right? I mean, the guy, he's a badass. He's a stud. 8.5 strikeouts. Seems like a lot, but there's no reason why he doesn't have like 10, 11 tonight. I think he gets into the double digits this evening at Chavez Ravine as we see the Dodgers warming up right now. Glasnow warming up. Everybody's rocking the number 42 for Jackie Robinson. So it's WNBA draft night tonight. And I gave some picks to Pharrell earlier today. I posted the picks on Twitter. When it's all said and done, we went 3-2. I would have been 4-1 would have been cool. There's a big difference between 4-1, 3-2, because some of these were a little bit pricey and juicy. You know what I'm saying? I had to lay a number. We lost the underdog pick that we made with the draft, but I thought we were going to the Peely girl from Utah going 8 surprised me. I thought she was going to go over 9.5. But Caitlin Clark obviously went to the Indiana Fever with the first pick. Cameron Brink went second to the Los Angeles Sparks. And speaking of Sparks, that was quite the pre-draft red carpet that they had tonight in the WNBA. And it's one of those deals, too. You don't want to come out and say, man, you know what, that girl's hot or something like that, because then you come on, you're sexist. It's 2024. You have to watch what you say. But especially in the sports realm. But I like the fact that the panel, who are all WNBA players and coaches, tonight said, damn, man, when I came to the league, the girls didn't look like this. Sort of what I said about curling. So, trust me, growing up seeing curling, they didn't look the way that they do now, right? We're in a new world right now. But that was quite the fashion show, I got to tell you, before the WNBA draft tonight. So Cameron Brink went second. Aaliyah Edwards ends up going 6th overall to Washington. Angel Reese goes to Chicago, and so does Camila Cardoso, the girl from South Carolina, 6'7", the center. I tell you what, the Chicago Sky, they got a lot better tonight. You got Angel Reese and Cardoso. You got 2 rebounders. You got a lot of attitude right there with those 2 players. And the Los Angeles Sparks had 2 picks in the top 4. They went with Rakia Jackson, the point guard. She's a badass out of Tennessee. And I think she's like 6'4" or something like that. She's pretty big. And Cameron Brink also, who's a great post interior player. So I look forward to the start of the WNBA season, which really isn't all that far off. These players don't have a lot of time to get acclimated to their new teams. The season starts May 14th. NBA playoffs, they start tomorrow night. The Lakers and the Pelicans. The Pelicans, 1-point favorites in this basketball game. The total is 223.5 right now. The Golden State Warriors are like 2.5 to the Sacramento Kings tomorrow night as well. The total is also 223.5. We'll break that down tonight. The Eastern Conference go on Wednesday with the Heat and Sixers and the Hawks and Bulls. We'll get you caught up to date with the series prices. I've got a series bet ready to pull the trigger on as well. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Jrue Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time to catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They are the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. And there's a Dodger game going on, and everything is the way that it should be when you see a smiling Mary Hart sitting behind home plate at Chavez Ravine like she is right now. And I don't know who it was. I forget which guest it was that didn't know who Mary Hart was. And it was kind of like mind-numbingly I was like, I don't know, what the hell are you talking about? You don't know who Mary Hart is. But
who was it?
Nevertheless, what's up, Cam? But Mary Hart might have been George Kurtz. Mary Hart is she's a diehard Dodger fan, sitting behind home plate. But Monday night tonight against the Nationals, like I said, she's hardcore. Like she literally goes to every game, and she doesn't show up in the third. She doesn't leave in the sixth. She's not like a celebrity fan or anything like that. Like she's the real deal. And if you look at her, there she is. She's right above the secrecy, the benefit sign. But she's right behind home plate. And if you'll notice her face, she's like in a constant, she's got the same look on her face. She's just sort of grinning the whole time. She's got like this, like she's so happy. She's just sitting there watching the game. She always has the same look, even in the playoffs, regular season. Same with her husband, too. Her husband always smiling. They're both just sitting there smiling all the time. But I miss Larry King. Larry King used to sit back there as well in the front row at Dodger Stadium. So Mary Hart, of course, is known for her legs, and her legs were insured years ago. And if her legs were insured for $1 million, then Cameron Brink of the LA Sparks in Stanford, her legs should be insured for like $50 million. Broke the internet tonight. She did an interview with the ESPN panel at the desk. Her hips were like higher than the desk. It was like, oh my God.
She's been a big
like, it was really, really unbelievable. Washington Nationals led off the game with a double because, of course, they did. Now they got a runner on third base, but there's 2 out right now. We'll see if Glasnow can get out of this scoreless in the first inning. So the Dodgers, Cam, closed at minus 390 favorites tonight. Minus 210 on the run line by the time first pitch came. I said earlier, if you're going to bet a Dodger game, you have to do it as soon as the number comes out the night before, even the run line, because nobody ever bets against them. So people are only going to bet on them. And not a lot of people are like crazy enough that are up on like a Sunday night at 1 in the morning. Like, oh, I'm going to get my baseball bets in. But I noticed it last night, right after the Dodger game ended, they were posted. And it was like, yeah, Dodgers minus 350. I said, oh, that's high, but I bet you it's even higher by first pitch. I'm surprised he didn't crack 400, actually. It closed at 390.
Crazy, Gabe. In the hockey game tonight, too, Edmonton closed at minus 600. I was talking to Sherapan. The Dodgers, you said it. That's the benefit of doing this show at night. you get better numbers because nobody's betting against these guys. Kudos to you with the Scotty Scheffler win as well. And we had a hedge situation there when it was tied. My boy Aberg almost won the damn tournament. He put one in the drink. That would have been very fortunate for me after a trip to New York. But great call by you. This guy's on a different level. But you're right.
Well,
Dave,
Aberg was my pick last week.
Yeah.
That was the one pick that I gave. I didn't even give Scheffler before the tournament started. I only gave one pick. I gave Aberg. But I played Scotty Scheffler in parlays, just knowing he was going to win. I didn't really think the only reason I knew Aberg wasn't going to win because first timers never win, right? And me and Brady talked about it last week. I said doesn't mean he can't be like top 5 or top 10. John Rahm cost me because I parlayed Aberg with John Rahm to like get a top 10s and top 20s. John Rahm has never struggled here before, but he did. But yeah, Scheffler. You know, it's easy to say now, but that was a pretty easy pick, actually, with Scheffler. No one's on his level mentally right now.
You know what it is, Gabe? It didn't seem that way, but I can tell you why. Because when you're watching, and I watch every shot of this tournament from either airport or whatever, Scheffler was not playing well at all, and guys caught him. Morikawa took the lead for a bit. Oberg was there, and all the guys were there. No change in his reaction. It's like a guy on a polygraph. He's guilty, but you're not registering. This guy had his heartbeat. I don't know what his beats per minute is. It's low. No stress. And then once he made one good shot, sucked it back, tap in birdie, you know the other guys are like, we're done. Aberg made one mistake. The wind picked up and he put one in the water. It cost him a double bogey. He was 4 shots back. He was the only real guy. We talked about DeChambeau was going to fold. Morikawa, that was his best tournament this year, but he still has a lot of issues with his game. He just can't seem to get it right. But Scotty Scheffler now, you want to bet him before tournaments or parlay him? I'm not going to stop you, Gabe. You could have got him at plus 450 before, and some of those parlays you took probably are pretty juicy with him. But good for top 5s and 10s. And McIlroy ruined a lot of people. Didn't even finish top 20. I know a lot of people had parlays with him. Another typical Rory tournament. He wants it too bad, Gabe. Just can't seem to get it. Makes mistakes, can't get out of his way, and nobody 3-putts more than Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, I think the pressure gets to him. When he gets to Augusta, searching that Grand Slam. I think that's the difference with you talk about it with Homa. Homa's kind of a chill dude. He doesn't really feel pressure in the same way other people do. And I think that Scheffler, obviously he loves golf, but I think his religion helps him. Like I actually think he's powered by God, Cam, like point blank. Right?
Yes,
like he's no, but like it's like that deal. Both teams can pray before a football game. Only one team can win, right? So you can, you know what I mean? There's different. Like Kyle Turley told me, he goes, Gabe, there's a lot of hypocrite Christians, all right, in the NFL that'll pray before a game, but they don't ever pray any other time. But thing with Scheffler is, I think it's like golf is a game to him. Like I said, like he said, I'm gonna leave if my wife. Everything is just a grace of God. Like it's not. Oh, if I can get this, I get this sponsor, or my ego, I'll be known as the greatest ever. Like, he's not driven by sort of ego. And I think he's just out there. And also, it sounds cliche, but it's like one of the guys said, might have been Curtis Strange. He said he has an uncanny ability, basically, to believe. A lot of golfers, golf is such a fragile sport. Even the best of them will wonder, where's the ball going to end up? What's going to happen here? Scheffler just sort of like, he's throwing darts, Cam. The ball goes where he tells it to go.
It's unbelievable.
I'm just going to hit this. And like, everyone else is like talking to their caddy and lining things up and worried. Scheffler just gets up there, sort of, okay, there,
he does,
boom, and he does it. You know what I mean?
Listen, Gabe,
he doesn't overthink.
No, and another thing is he's smarter than everybody else. He knows when not to go for pins. When all those idiots were hitting it.
It's a good point. He's not greedy either. Like, he's cautious. No. He just plays. Yeah.
That's it. He goes, the caddy goes, put it 20 feet here. Don't attack the pin. Homa attacks the pin, bad bounce, gets an unplayable, out of the tournament. Aberg got greedy. Water. All these guys. Morikawa got greedy. Trees. That's the thing. Look at what Scotty Scheffler does. He's a plotter. He's a guy you want, Gabe, in a bunker. He doesn't get rattled about anything. And you said this. He's got a life. He says he's leaving with the baby. He believes in God. He's got a golf to him. It's like, yeah, I'm the best golfer in the world. Who cares? My life is great. I have a beautiful
as you
wife.
see, like he doesn't play all the time even. Like he doesn't force it. He's like, no, I'm going to spend time with my family for a couple of weeks. And then he goes back to it, right? Like
And
he
he's
doesn't.
yes.
Like some people, I can't give it up. I can't, I can't. Right? No, he's sort of got that balance. Plus, he's just so good. He's boring. I mean, I don't say he's good for the game, Cam, because he's just so bland. You know what I'm saying? Like
Good
he's
call.
so like just, I'm just being
vanilla.
real.
Yeah.
He is, but that's what makes him good.
The thing is,
It's like that PNC. I saw a PNC bank commercial. They said, we've been boring since 1885. Boring. The way a bank should
I want
be.
a boring bank. My bank, TV,
Like,
they're
they were
not
saying like,
boring.
we don't take chances. Your money's safe. Like it's basically like right?
The opposite of mine. My guy's Rory McIlroy. He's hitting him in the trees, hitting him in the water. Mister's too.
No, but it's true though.
I agree.
Like if you look at Scheffler, like Scheffler was really happy. Like I said, like on the Friday, or whatever, he had a bogey-free round. That's what he goes. He goes, I just try not to make, like, you know what I mean? It's always the thing. Like if you're better at golf, you played more golf than I have, but everyone knows the whole thing. It's like the super contest I always talk about. It's like just go 3 and 2. You got a par and you move on, right? And in golf, he knows that. Just don't bogey. Just par. We'll be fine in the end. He doesn't force it.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
A popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Drew Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time to catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They are the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
This is SportsRage, Sirius XM Channel 159 of SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. So the Dodgers got dinged for a run in the first, but they've responded. They've tied the game up. It's 1-1 right now. So Teoscar Hernandez is up. The Dodgers do have a runner on first base. 1-1 early in this baseball game. The run in the first inning cash, and that's something we should have played because I actually thought this kid on the Nats was going to get hit here tonight. So for the record, as far as, remember, we played the over base props like we do every Dodger game. Got a couple of singles in the first inning here. Ohtani got a single and Freeman got a single. Betts 0 for 1. So we just need another hit from Ohtani and Freeman there. We got Joe Madden ready to step up and Cam Stewart in the house. And both Joe and Cam have their eye on the San Jose Sharks and the Edmonton Oilers. And this game is going the way the Sharks season has gone, Joe. Bad. It's 4-0 for the Oilers right now after the first period of play. And I think Cam Stewart already bet the San Jose Sharks plus 5.5 goals right now. I would recommend against it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up 6-7-0 or so. But you're with Cam. And look, your earrings actually, this could be the San Jose Shark show. You look like you could be on a shark show. You got black and teal on. You look good, Joe.
Hey?
You got shark. It's a sign. You got shark earrings on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Joe's
exactly what it is.
Let's go, Joe. 5.5.
Come on, that was my game plan going into this. As soon as I found out Connor McDavid was coming out on the ice, I wanted to bet the Sharks after the first period when they were down plus the points. One thing to note, though, Connor McDavid has the goal, but he doesn't have the assist yet. So how much longer do they leave him out there on the ice? Maybe it's better to bet the Sharks as soon as Connor McDavid gets that assist, because then I think he's going to be off the ice.
Cam, you're taking the Sharks plus 5.5?
Yes, I am, Gabe. You're right. You're probably the voice of reason in this threesome here. But I'm going to say this. I'm with Joe. We both need professional help, I guess. And the definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and expecting different results. But that's who I am. Call me insane. But I'll tell you, that SJ Sharkey, worst team in the NHL, bet cash. So I don't hate these guys as much as other people do who bet them. Give me 5.5. And the juice has gone down, too. Go Sharks.
I'm going to stay away from the Sharks. I'll take the under 8.5 in this game, though, because I don't think the Sharks are going to score, right? Or maybe how many goals are they really going to score? Maybe one. I don't think they're suddenly going to score 3 goals or something like that. And I don't think Edmonton need to beat these guys 9-0. They're just trying to get, like you said, and McDavid wouldn't mind getting the assist. I don't think he cares, but they want to get his legs back a little bit, Joe, right, before the playoffs. Yeah. Similar to Thatcher Demko's playing tomorrow night against your Calgary Flames. They want to get, playoffs coming up, get a start under his belt, and he won't play against Winnipeg in the last game. So I imagine I wouldn't be surprised that's what they do with McDavid. Play him, get him on the ice and then get him off the ice after. And a big controversy in Toronto we'll get to about Austin Matthews. Not a controversy, but the stupid Toronto media talk about it like this guy's Hank Aaron or something. But so what's your pick, Joe, for Minnesota and the LA Kings, if you have one? It's 1-0 for the Minnesota Wild right now after the first period.
Okay, so after this first period here, I would jump in on the LA Kings straight up on the money line at plus 138. I did lay the puck line with the LA Kings because this was the only favorite that I had a lot of confidence in today. We know the LA Kings are still playing for something here with the Vegas Golden Knights trying to take that third spot in the Pacific. And when we look at the LA Kings versus the Minnesota Wild, the Wild are starting so many rookies out here. And while they had success versus the Sharks, that was the Sharks. And I do expect this defense to really start locking down here of the LA Kings. They should be able to find the back of the net. I'm shocked that this is a 1-0 game going into the second period, but I do think the Kings get it right in the second and the third and can come out at plus 138 on the money line. A beautiful odds there. I would be tempted to do reverse puck line minus 1.5. I just don't have those odds in front of me. That was my pregame bet.
As it is now, the LA Kings have 97 points. The Vegas Golden Knights have 96. The Kings, if they're in third place, would get the Edmonton Oilers in a matchup. There's still so much that can change in the NHL playoffs. Cam, are you playing the Wild and the Kings game?
This is where me and Joe's party ends. Joe, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for the wine, and now I must come back to my place. I'm on the Minnesota Wild tonight. I like the fact that young players are in the lineup for them. I love the fact that these guys are playing for jobs. Morency, I look at things in a different way now. Ever since me and you crushed it in the NBA, getting these basically teams from the G League, 16 points type of thing. I believe in Minnesota. I think these guys are going to be showing up in this game. I understand. Do teams really care? Whoever you play, your opponent's going to be hard anyway. That's what I'm kind of looking at. Some teams just want to stay healthy, get to the end of the line, and get it done. So I'm on Minnesota. I actually might take them -1.5 with that empty goal potential. And I'm on the Sharks 5.5, which I don't want to repeat because people think I'm nuts.
I do agree. I think that in the Western Conference, there's really not a lot of difference between a lot of the teams that you're playing. Like, either way, it's not fun. But at the same point in time, the home ice thing and just being the higher seed is what drives a lot of these teams, which makes sense. And also to avoid being the wild card as well, unless you get the Canucks, Joe. That's the whole thing how this plays out. Like, as it is now, the Vegas Golden Knights would play the Dallas Stars in the first round. Like, that's crazy. So, like, if you're the Vegas Golden Knights, you might be the defending Stanley Cup champions, but you don't want to play the Dallas Stars. So you're trying to get out of this because I don't care if you're the champs or not. You're like, dear God, like, we don't want to play like it's a freaking battle. Like, if you end up in that little sequence, you have to play the Dallas Stars, and the Dallas Stars winner of that series will play the winner of the Jets and the Avalanche. Like, this is where, Joe, the imbalanced stupidity of the NHL playoff format really, really is exposed. Like, point blank, the Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton Oilers, Nashville Predators, and the LA Kings, they have a much easier path to get to the Stanley Cup than these other top-tier teams, which is pretty crazy. Like, basically, guys, think about it. Vegas plays Dallas, and then the winner of that series plays the winner of the Jets and Avs, which is probably going to be the Avs. So, like, if you're the Dallas Stars, your reward for being the best team in the league or in the Western Conference is getting the Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche in the first two rounds.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks will get the Nashville Predators and then have to beat the winner of the LA Kings and Oilers. And then next thing you know, you're in the semifinals. I bring this up, guys, due to future betting. Look at that bottom of the bracket in the Western Conference on the bottom side where Edmonton, LA, Vancouver is. Whoever you like out of those four teams, take them to win the Western Conference because one of them is going to come out of this tunnel and into the semifinals without having to face Vegas, Dallas, or Colorado, man. What a massive difference. So in the West, it kind of really does matter where you finish.
Do you want to hear something insane, guys? Like, and this is, I blew Joe Ranieri's mind earlier. So I'm on FanDuel, and they have Colorado only -135 in this series against the Jets. I'm also looking at playoff series exact things, like how a team wins. Colorado is +490 to beat the Jets in 7, and the Jets are +470 less to beat Colorado in 7, yet they're a dog in a series. Is that not insane? Is the guy writing lines drunk, or what's the deal? Like, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen. How is that even possible?
Well, who do you like to win the series?
Probably Colorado, 7. I think the Jets are going to win a few games, but you can bet them in 6. See, Gabe, this is the way we talk about this. Let's use our smarts. I know I bet San Jose, and people are like, you're dumb. But don't worry, I'll redeem myself here. If you think Colorado's going to win the series, it's probably going 6 and 7. You get them at +400, or you get them at +490. Your choice. That means but they have to win in 6 or 7 games. Why would I leave 40 cents when I can do that? I think the Jets are going to win a couple games.
Joe, what do you think of that series?
Yeah, I think the Jets can win a couple as well. Connor Hellebuck and Boussois, that goaltending tandem is elite. And I really do think the Jets actually have the opportunity. If it goes to 7, I think the Jets could pull it off because of that goaltending. We saw what they're able to do with Kyle Connor off the ice for that long stretch. Once he got back on the ice, we did see that defense really let up, and I do expect that defense to come back to home. And adding Tyler Toffoli here, they really do have a closer out there on the ice. I've been high on the Jets from the start of the season, and I do think they have every opportunity, if it goes to 7, to beat Colorado. Colorado's so strong offensively, but goaltending-wise, Georgiev, if he doesn't get the support out there, I don't know if I can trust him.
I'm gonna sound like Brooks Koepka did when somebody asked him before if he thinks they can shoot 59 at Augusta, and he said, "You've never played here before, have you?" Right? And my deal is, I'll say, you guys never seen the Jets in the playoffs before, have you? They're the biggest chokers They're like, they don't win. They never win.
Sharks, Gabe. Sharks. Get on with us now. We're only down 3 fins. Excellent.
Did they score?
Now they're getting 4.5 only.
Yeah.
I got the under. I need this to slow down.
Right,
No, but listen, on paper, you're right, Joe. Like the Jets made a lot of nice signings before the trade deadline, the deadline and stuff. The deals worked out for them. Hellebuck's a great goalie, but they've also faded down the stretch. I know they've won a couple of games recently, but they've faded down the stretch for the most part. And they have a history of just falling apart. I mean, they get swept. Like you know what I mean? Like the Canadian, I just think of all the playoff failures with this team over the years. It's hard for me to overlook it. Like, okay, what's going to be different now? And the Avalanche, to me, they're just one of those teams that throw out what happened in the regular season and stuff. They're going to dial it up a notch, right? Like these guys know how to. Like Nate, McKinnon's arguably the best player in the NHL too. So you got the best player in the NHL. You have a lethal home ice advantage. You got the altitude. I think Winnipeg going to be in tough here. And I've picked Winnipeg to win in the past years a couple of times, but they never do. I've given up on them. I got to go with the Avs.
For hard team in the past.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Drew Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford father time to catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They are the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, the pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Joe asked me during the break, what do I think of Arizona moving to Salt Lake? And I'll be honest, as somebody, I was the Expos post-game show host. Like, I lost a job with a team leaving. Like, my life was rolling. I was like, wow. I even did a game as a color analyst. I was like, wow, I'm doing Major League Baseball. This is great. And I don't know why they didn't take me to Washington with them. I say that sarcastically. But I didn't want to go to Washington with them. But no, I had a lot to say on the way out, so I wasn't going. I knew that. And that's the only reason why I was ever a Major League Baseball postgame show host. Like, in what world, who would make, and I used to be crazier and mouthier. Like, in what world would a pro team say, you know what, he's our guy. He's the one. The only reason they did is because they knew they were leaving, right? Like, they knew. They were like, whatever, we're here for 2 more years, and we're not bringing him with them anyways. People seem to like him on the air here, and just whatever. We don't care. They just didn't care. Right? It was just one of those. They didn't care. So,
you're a lame duck broadcaster, Morency. Not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool at all.
I really upset them a couple of times, though, for real.
Yeah. It happened.
Looking back on it, I would have fired me. I would have been like, you said what? Like, I didn't want to repeat something I said once.
They said I have to be nice to the team. That's the problem with these guys. They're so soft. You make a couple comments about the team sucking. Next thing you know, you're out of a job. These guys get thicker skin. You're professional athletes. And the guys who run the show, what, you want it to be a love fest? They do suck. Deal with it.
I had the guy call. I had the president of the time, when they played in Puerto Rico, actually had them install a radio thing in the booth so he could keep track of what I said when they were in Puerto Rico. Wow. They were really, 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 they were really hardcore. Once I was on the radio, it was Tony Tavares was the president. He used to be the president of the Anaheim Ducks and the Angels, a big sports executive. And I really, he used to really get upset. And it was nothing personal, Tony. I knew you were just doing your job. So was I. But I said something on the radio once about them. And the producer guy tells me, he's like, he goes, hey, the president of the Expos and Major League Baseball is on the phone for you. He wants to talk to you about something you just said. And we had a problem. We used to have a problem with people impersonating players, Cam. It was pretty funny.
Yes.
So it was good. Like, once I was on the post-game show and Brian Schneider hit a home run, I said, we go to Brian Schneider. Like, it wasn't Brian Schneider. So,
that's amazing. I love that stuff.
I said, he didn't even swear at it. He goes, it was a great feeling, Gabe. It was great to hit that home run today. And he played it up like he was doing the interview. But I knew Brian Schneider, so right away I caught on, and I laughed. I go, oh, man, God bless you guys, man. I said, but that's not Brian Schneider. And I hung up. I got so mad after, hey, you effing idiot, to the kid producer. What are you, an idiot? That's not Brian Schneider. I said, from now on, unless they call on this private number, they don't get on, right? I said, no exceptions. I said, they got to call, because there was a private number that people knew to call that were real. So I said, unless it's a private number, don't believe it. Lo and behold, the president calls on this other number. I left the guy on hold for like 45 minutes.
You didn't.
And and I even said on here, I said, we got someone that says he's the president. I said, I've been making him wait for an hour now, guys, and I'm laughing it up and stuff. And then, like, they hang up and he calls back, and the producer goes, dude, it's really him, and he's really mad, right? Like, it's really him. So I tell the producer, I give the producer a list of like 5 questions. I say, ask him these questions and know if he knows the answer to. And he did. So we get him on. He was steaming and stuff. He goes, I was just listening to your show, and I want to correct you about something you said once again. Something about baseball. I said baseball was screw. I don't know. Something about like Major League Baseball and the Expos of Washington. You're factually wrong or something. Like, it was too good. It's too good. See, I can't help but think of that now when I see these son of a bitch Washington Nationals right now. How can I like this team?
So funny.
I'll never be able to like this team.
You know our boy
Right,
Griff, he feels the same way, Gabe, because he worked for the Expos. He was their PR guy, and he worked for that organization like you did, and he hates the Nationals. Like you mentioned,
but he worked for the Blue
Nationals.
Jays after, at least.
Yeah, I think he's starting to hate them too.
Yeah. So that's part of the business.
Yeah, that's right. What team doesn't hate me? Exactly.
So that's all part of the business. So
That's funny.
yeah, it's 1-1 right now. Dodgers do have a runner on third base. We'll see if they can bust this game open. 1-1 right now, bottom of the second inning. 5-1 in that hockey game. So, yeah, you know what? You raise a good point, Joe. Listen, on paper, the Jets are good. You know what I mean? Like they are good. I just get the feeling it's sort of like I'll ask you, Joe. I don't know who you like tomorrow with the Golden State Warriors and the Kings. Sort of a very similar example. It's like, yeah, the Kings are young and they're good and stuff, but the Warriors are men. They've won championships. You put them in a one-game situation, I'll take Draymond. Like, they know. Yeah, just trip the kid, tug his jersey, mouth off. Like, they know all the little tricks. It's like hockey, Cam. They'll bet against Tampa once the playoffs start. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to start messing people up, right? There's certain teams that raise it up a notch, Joe, in the playoffs. I kind of get the feeling the Avs. You raise a good point about their goaltending. Listen, they're going to be in higher scoring games. They need to score goals. I'm not saying the Avs are going to win the cup, but I just have a hard time. And let's be real, guys. I'll throw it to you first, Joe. Teams from Canada don't win in the playoffs in the NHL. One by one, they fall. And we all fall for it every year. And every year, they all just lose all the time.
So do we take every Canadian team to go out in the first round? Because if that's the case, right?
Everyone needs to pump the brakes.
It's probably not a bad idea, except Vancouver.
I didn't mean to razz you that much.
You know what the funny thing is? It could be.
No,
it could
honestly,
be.
Okay. Well, Panthers and Leafs. Who are you taking?
Leafs. Leafs are going to beat the Panthers this year.
He jumps in right away.
I don't know if they can.
But I have lowered expectations. I'm going to tell you. The thing is, the Leafs are anyway. I don't want to get into this.
I think they can beat them. I think they can. I'm not saying I'm not ready. I'm not betting on the Panthers. I don't like the Panthers for some reason.
The Panthers were lucky to beat the Leafs.
I just don't like
the Leafs outplayed them. They had shots. The Panthers won overtime games. The Leafs actually came back in that series. I'm telling you, they were there. And the Leafs right now with Wall, I think the goaltending is playing a little. I'm telling you, I think
it'll be Samsonov who plays in the playoffs. Personally,
yeah. Well, I don't really care who it is, but I know one thing: they got Domi and they got Bertuzzi, and those guys are animals. That's why they did well with the teams that they played for in the playoffs. Dallas. And, that's why they brought these guys in.
I'm taking the Leafs, Cam. I'm taking the Leafs. I'm buying in.
Thank you, Gabe. Thanks, man. Hey, the Leafs treat me like junk. And another thing
I can't sit here every night cheering against the Leafs with you during the playoffs. That'll be a bit much. I can do it later in the rounds if needed, but I'm not going to do it off the top.
You don't have to tell you. You don't have to tell me. You got to bet with what your wallet's saying. But I'm going to tell you one thing.
No, I know, but I think the Panthers are tired. I think the Panthers can slow down. I think the Leafs' speed can get them. And Cam is right. The Leafs are much grittier right now with their depth. But I'm just saying, we were talking about every Canadian team losing. I just started off in the East because they're the ones. But, I mean, they're going to be underdogs. So it's not crazy to say the Leafs lose that series, Joe. Who do you think the Panthers – you would take the Panthers against the Leafs?
Yeah, I would take the Panthers against the Leafs. What happens, though, if the Panthers take the first in the Atlantic? Because if Boston loses to the Senators and then we have – yeah, because then you're going to see the Bruins versus the Leafs. And then I definitely think the Bruins can get past the Leafs, right? If they move down.
Come on.
Wow.
Right?
I love
Okay, I'm going to time out. I'm going to time out myself. I'm going to time out myself. I think Florida's the tougher matchup. I think if I'm the Leafs, I prefer to play Boston.
I agree.
Really?
100%. Well, know what the problem with Boston is, Joe? They have one line. They're top heavy. And their goaltending was on fire earlier on in the year. Swayman and Ullmark are coming down to earth a little bit. I'm telling you, the Leafs actually are deeper than Boston.
6-1 Edmonton now.
I know. I don't even know why I'm watching this game. It sucks. Why did
I blame you and you two. I never would even look at this if it wasn't for you two. I ignored it like a smart person. I ignored it.
We should have ignored it.
We still don't have an assist out of Connor McDavid.
I got under 8.5. I'm doomed. I need Edmonton to just stop. Just stop, guys. You've had enough. There's 7 minutes left in the second. This game's going to be over by the time this period's over. They might win 9-1, Cam. You're done, too.
Yeah, I am done. But I'm on the Oakland A's plus 1.5, too, and plus 220 money line. They're hanging in there.
What are you betting on all the bad Bay Area teams? San Jose the A's? That's a losing parlay.
Oh, dude, I told Joe Ranieri he needs help mentally. He did a Bay Area parlay. Exactly what you said. Shark. He only has 1.5 with the Oakland A's. I go, you're done. You got to take the 5.5, man.
No, the Nationals just hit a home run. God, it just never ends.
It really doesn't.
The Dodgers have
Every
to come
time
back
the Dodgers were up 2-1, now it's 2-2. At least they're not losing, but it's 2-2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Abrams with the home run.
2 games in a row. They lost to the Padres yesterday. They shouldn't come back. They should come back.
That line, but Gabe knows too, Joe. That line
fine.
was a complete trap last night. Like only Paxton, like a $1.45. That was Trap City with the Dodgers yesterday. They better beat the Nationals.
Well, they won the first 2, so they're not going to sweep.
It's hard.
Even the Dodgers are happy after winning 2 of 3. You know what I mean? In a series, the baseball team's goal is always win the series. Right. One thing the Dodgers have been pretty relentless. They don't give guys days off. They really don't. I know it's still early in the season, but I mean, even me, I'm surprised at times. I'll look. I'm like, really? Everybody's playing again? I'm like Ohtani, Betts, and Friedman have played in every game this year.
Mm-hmm. We're done, Gabe. 7-1. Can the Oilers call off the Dogs? Like, what are you doing? I'm already dead, and you're like eating my flesh now. Like, I'm already dead in the alley. Like, just leave me alone. Like, like chalk outline. Like, we're done. It's over.
You deserve it. You bet on the Sharks.
I do. I'm going to take full responsibility for being an idiot.
There's no. I tried to figure out, you know what? They won't score. They'll score once. I didn't anticipate Edmonton scoring this much, though. Yeah, 7-1 right now. I think they're about to score again, actually.
I think so, too. They just locked it again. Oh, my. You got to be kidding me.
The in-game total's 10.5 right now. So, Joe, what are you doing tomorrow night in the NBA? What are you doing with the Lakers and the Pelican game?
I've got to take the Lakers straight up on the money line. You can lay 1. It's minus 108. It's minus 112 on the money line. I'd rather have that. I do think they can come out and get the win versus the Pelicans. I really do think at the pace these teams play at that we probably go over that 223.5. I know when we look at playoff style basketball, we should see that lockdown on defense, but I think it's going to be too fast of a game to stay under 223.5. So I'll take the over and I'll take the Lakers on the money line.
I like where you're going with that total. It's a good point. I want to see what the scores were when they played. Yeah, it's a playoff game. It's a playing game, but they're not going to change the styles. Man, Glasnow's getting hit. There's another double here for the Nationals. So I think you're right, Joe. I don't think these teams are just going to throw their styles out the window. And it's back to although the Pelicans really aren't kids. Like C.J. McCollum's been around forever. He's smoking hot right now. We'll wrap up with Joe on the other side. But, yeah, all the games were track meets that they played this year.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum has games where he has stinkers. He shoots a 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown in the playoffs gets exposed because he can't go left. Porzingis gets old. Sometimes Drew Holiday's not consistent. Al Horford, Father Time can catch up. That being said, I still think they're going to the NBA Finals and winning it. And I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Celtics with all of my might.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis owns it. They beat them 5 straight times. And Memphis is awful. So what does that say about the Bucks? They are the most overrated team in the NBA, hands down.
Michigan and Boston College, there's going to be goals scored in this game. But, with that being stated, the total's up to 7.5 right now. I got to go under 7.5 here, Scott.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
This is SportsRage Level 1 coming to a close. Here we got a 3-minute warning. And, Joe, this wild card right now in the Eastern Conference literally is wild. That was a crazy game. You saw the end of that Detroit-Montreal game. End-to-end action. Detroit needed the 2 points, and they needed the win. It came back. They got the win. That was a wild stuff tonight. And they play again tomorrow in Montreal. It wouldn't surprise me, as good as the Canadiens have been down the stretch, you saw, when it mattered, they wilted quickly. And I think Detroit probably beat them again tomorrow. That's my take. I think Detroit's going to beat them. The Islanders are in the playoffs now, so George Kurt's going to be in a good mood when he joins us in a couple of minutes. Although we could boast about the Blue Jays beating the Yankees.
Yes, we can.
What do you think happens, Joe, here? With the Capitals, so you got 3 teams, for one spot.
Yeah, so if the Penguins beat the Islanders, which I think the Penguins will be able to beat the Islanders, and the Red Wings beat Montreal, the Red Wings would be still a point above the Penguins, so they would get in. If the Capitals beat the Flyers, they still have one more regulation win, I believe, so they would be in. I think the Flyers could upset the Capitals tomorrow. So I think it's probably between the Red Wings and the Penguins. As long as the Red Wings win, I think they're moving through. So is it who I want to see? No, I'd love to see the Penguins get in. I love Sidney Crosby and everything that he's pulled this team and rallied them together. But you look at how they quit after the trade deadline, that's going to come back and haunt them. They quit for 6 games?
You know what, though, to be real, none of these teams have a hope in hell of winning anything anyway. So
No,
does it really matter? Who cares?
No, the only one
for Crosby, it'd be cool to get in, but
it would be. But I would say this though, Gabe. Alex Lyon, the Detroit goalie's not been as sharp, but if you're looking at a team out of those that can actually have talent and speed and stuff, Detroit's I would consider them the more dangerous of the teams left.
They can score. They can score. I don't know, Washington are hot. I wouldn't want to have to play Washington, actually. Another one of those vet teams that know how to win.
True.